What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Justin. We are fresh off of 3 reaction videos. This is kind of like a just chatting YouTube video. Just gonna share our thoughts here. When you're watching this video, you're probably gonna see some FF14 gameplay in the background. You know what I mean? And maybe some nice music to the video. But there's something I want to talk about. You know what I mean? And what a platform to do it on. This is what YouTube is meant for. Just freestyle fucking videos to share your thoughts. I think that's what YouTube is good for. You know, that's what a platform should always be about. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everyone's well, blessed, good health. I want to talk about player commendations in FF14. Do they matter? Are they worth it? You know, I played this game. I'll put it on the screen. Has to at least be, I don't know. I've been subscribed for like 2,500 days, so you put that in years, and it's been multiple years since I played this game. You know what I mean? And I've done a lot of dungeons. I communicate a lot. I have micros set up to let people know via like if I'm new or not. You know, I've been part of FCs. Now I have my own FC that I run with my friends, my 2 friends, small little thing, you know what I mean? And yeah, I just really love this game. And, you know, a big part of when I play FF14 was always worry about these player commendations. You know, I always thought that, like, you know, if I didn't get one, it means I'm bad at the game. You know, now how that must sound, I don't know if that sounds cringy, ridiculous, embarrassing that I'm sharing that. But sometimes when I would play a dungeon and I didn't get a commendation, maybe they thought I sucked, or I fucked up, or I did something wrong. You know what I mean? And, you know, a lot of times, you know, when I used to play, I used to always hope I get one. But then I realized that it's not really what I thought it was. And I realized that player commendations are very, very different and specific when it comes to certain aspects of this game. You know, first thing to consider is that you can't player commendation your friends or your FC mates. I believe someone drop a comment below about the FC mates on the player commendations. And 2, I think it's only with random people, you know what I mean, that you play with that like are not on your friends list. I think even friends lists are blocked. It has to be someone that's random. And you know, I used to get very discouraged. And but I want you to know is that there are certain player commendation rewards. There's mounts. I've got a couple mounts there. I think the 3,000 player commendation reward is like the fat chocobo, but you don't really need to care too much about player commendations. That's not an unpopular opinion, but don't let that, you know, be your sole source of playing a dungeon and being like discouraged and like, man, this sucks because like I never got one. There's various reasons why you won't get a player commendation. You can be the best fucker in the world. The what? You could be the best player in the world, bro, and like do perfectly good in that dungeon. You can be a badass red mage. You can be a badass ninja. You can be a badass reaper, white mage, even a tanking flawlessly, doing everything right. And you know you did everything right. No player commendation. And that's when and you have to realize that like a lot of players who vote for player commendations, they may not even vote because you did good. Maybe they don't vote at all. A lot of players don't vote at all. They'll just leave. Or maybe they'll vote for somebody that has a pretty character or a pretty glam. Had nothing to do with your gameplay or your skill. You know what I mean? You really just don't know what that person is voting for. So it's best not to worry about player commendation in FF14. If you want the golds and the mounts, that's cool. But I mean, I have like 2,700 player commendations. I will say, but so that's over years of playing. I will say, if you want those mount rewards for player comms, I mean, I think there's a guild house you can do. A guild house called Under the Armor. People just give them out there. But most likely, the best way to get player commendation is just a heal and a tank. You know, there's kind of like an unspoken rule. This is what I've noticed. This is not true in every aspect. Do not take it to heart. This is not factual on every dungeon. But typically, when you tank or you heal, people tend to give you a player commendation. And it really is more of like a respect thing. Like for me, I player comm my healer and my tank. Sometimes DPS depending, but tank and healer especially, because it's like, okay, well you're playing a role that I know people are not really desired to play. Let's keep it real. DPSs are more desirable to play than tanks and healers, and it shows. It shows in queue times. It shows in data. It shows in it shows. But I typically calm, the healer and the tank just because, like, hey, they're doing it. Where healers, even if they die 1,000 times, the tank dies, you're still in there playing with real people. You're not using the trust system or doing support, and you're putting yourself out there. That deserves fucking respect. So you get my player accommodation. You know what I mean? That's how I think. You know what I mean? And yeah, but don't let it discourage you. If I don't care if you play for 8 hours a day and you get no player accommodations, but you know that you did the dungeon perfectly fine, or even if you died a whole bunch and you don't get one, who cares? You know what I mean? It is not a big deal. There's nothing good that comes from it. It's just mounts. And if you don't like the mount, then it's completely useless. You know what I mean? That's the only thing you get from player accommodations. You know what I mean? So a good mentality to have that I want to tell people who are slightly even worried about just getting the player comm and being that guy, just stop being that guy or girl, because it doesn't fucking matter. Just play the game, have fun. If you get a comm, cool. If you don't, cool. And just keep going about your business. You know what I mean? That's the best advice I can give anyone that's playing FF14, veteran or new, about player accommodations. You know what I mean? It's not the end all be all. You know what I mean? And I don't know who needs to hear this. Maybe some people never have issue with this, but I feel like some players do have issue with this. You know what I mean? And they do care about player accommodations, and they do think it's like really, really, really worth it. Trying to tell you it's not as serious as it is, and it's not really like, something that you want to judge your gameplay off of, or, think you need to get better because someone randomly that you don't even know didn't give you one. So anyway, that's my take on player accommodations and, how you should treat them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.